1997, Penn State thundered into its 5th year as a member of the Big Ten. Since joining the nation's premier conference, the Lions have a 4-year record of 42-7, tops in the Big Ten. They have won a New Year's Day bowl game each year, posted one undefeated and untied season, and added a conference championship to their accomplishments. As the Nittany Lions embarked on the new season, the pieces were in place for the Lions to continue their incredible success. 13 starters and 42 lettermen returned to power Penn State through a critically rugged Big Ten schedule. As usual, the goal is another conference title, another bowl victory, and another national championship. As usual, these Lions will attack that goal with enthusiasm and focus, and reminding everyone you can't ignore the roar. What a way to begin a new season. A record crowd of more than 97,100 fans jamming Beaver Stadium. Penn State and Pitt renewing a backyard rivalry for the 93rd time. The Nittany Lions proudly wore a preseason #1 national ranking for the first time in history. And an inexperienced quarterback playing in front of a hometown crowd making his first collegiate start. 5th-year senior Mike McQuarrie took over the controls from the graduated Wally Richardson and turned in the most prolific debut for a quarterback in 111 years of Penn State football. On his team's first 2 possessions, McQuarrie showed poise as he guided the Lions to a quick 10-0 advantage. In the 3rd period, McQuarrie continued his mastery of the Panther defense. A 7-play, 77-yard march culminated with a bootleg pass to Joe Nastasi.
He's throwing into the end zone, got Nastasi! Touchdown, Penn State!
Drive number 2 of the second half. The big redhead with the rifle arm drove his team 74 yards on 6 plays before handing it to Curtis Enos for the finishing blow. The Lions had 34 points. McQuarrie had thrown for 366 yards, completed 21 passes for 2 touchdowns, and piled up a total of 370 yards total offense. Pittsburgh had tried to rattle the Lions quarterback by setting up an 8-man defensive front. The strategy failed. 11 different Penn Staters caught at least 1 pass, and the average gain per pass of 9.1 yards was just a yard shy of the school record. Penn State's defense held the Panthers without a touchdown until the final 3.5 minutes of the game. Linebacker Jim Nelson helped contain the Pitt offense with 6 tackles, while safety Sean Lee gathered in an interception that set up the Lions' first touchdown. The 34-17 victory was Penn State's 17th consecutive non-conference win and enabled the Lions to strengthen their hold on the #1 spot in the Associated Press poll. When McQuarrie threw for 366 yards, he replaced Todd Blackledge as the school's all-time single-game passing yardage leader. For the 2nd week in a row, a visiting team threw everything up front, stacked the defensive line, and put total effort into stopping Penn State's running game. And for the 2nd week in a row, the strategy failed miserably. Temple's Owls, like Pitt before them, concentrated on road-blocking Penn State's bruising inside ground game. So how did Joe Paterno respond? He again opened up the offense. Following Curtis Enos' first-period touchdown, the Lions' next 5 scores came on dazzling plays that each covered 25 or more yards.
Touchdown, Chevy Field! Cordell's got a hole. He's at the 35. He's gone! Cordell Mitchell! McQuarrie back to pass, throws over the middle, complete to Stassi, 2-yard line, touchdown! Reverse again to Fields. Fields got some room. He's at the 50s, to the 45s, to the 40, the 35, the 30. He's cuts outside of the 20s, at the 10, the 5. Goodbye, Shafee! Back to pass. McQuarrie steps up, throwing deep down the middle for Joe Juravicius. Touchdown, Penn State!
Along the way, Juravicius took over 9th place on Penn State's all-time receiver list. And Enos became the 13th back in Lion history to gain more than 2,000 career yards. For Shafee Fields, the one-time tailback turned wide receiver, the stat sheet read an intriguing 2 carries, 90 yards, 2 touchdowns. Temple fell 52-10. And a long-time series between these two intrastate universities came to an end, with Penn State owning a 28-0-1 mark since 1941. Curtis Enos passed Franco Harris as he moved into 11th place on Penn State's all-time rushing list. The Lions headed south for their second-ever meeting with the Louisville Cardinals. For the second consecutive week, an opponent scored on its first possession. The Lions wasted little time returning the favor. On their first offensive play, Penn State started and ended a drive that covered 57 yards. Penn State's defense was just as fired up. Louisville's passer could not find time to pass. And Louisville's runners seemed headed in the wrong direction. On the other side of the ball, Penn State's offense was definitely on the right track and pointed toward Pater. The Lions owned the ball for 9 possessions in the first half and scored on 6 of them. Chris Eberle's 163 yards on kick returns also stunned the home team. Curtis Enos pushed his 233 pounds of steel into the end zone 3 times, the third 3-touchdown game of his career. But the heart-pumping highlight of this first half was the coast-to-coast combo of McQuarrie and Juravicius.
There's a fade into the corner, Juravicius, touchdown! And there's a play fake, and McQuarrie has all day. He's going deep for Juravicius. Can he get there? Makes the catch at the 20, the 15, the 10. Touchdown on a bomb!
The Mike and Joe show had now combined for 5 career touchdowns of more than 50 yards each. For the senior wide receiver, 3 scoring catches in 1 game was a first. The big play offense was scorching Louisville, but it did not account for all of Penn State's 7 first-half touchdowns.
Intercepted by Aaron Collins. He's got open field in front of him at the 40, the 30, the 20. Aaron Collins is strutting into the end zone as he played it perfectly.
It was the first touchdown at Penn State for Collins, a 3-year starter at linebacker. Adding to his spectacular afternoon, Collins dropped Louisville runners twice for minus 11 yards and inserted a quarterback sack on his resume. In all, Penn State rolled up 50 points in the first half, the most in the opening 2 periods since back in 1950. Their 36 second-quarter points were the highest since 1967. Penn State closed the curtain on their non-conference schedule with a one-sided 57-21 thumping of Louisville.
We put some points on the board today, and our defense held them. What more can you ask for? And let's just keep winning. We're going to Big Tens now. Let's play some Big Ten ball, and we'll let our record speak for itself.
Oh, absolutely. Big Ten is smash mouth football. I mean, nothing against this team, but this team came out passing the ball. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's finesse football. Big Ten, they come at you. And, I mean, I'm looking forward to it.
You know, we're going to go back, take some time off now. We got a couple of weeks, and we're going to get ready for Illinois.
Joe Juravicius passed both Scott Fitzke and Ted Qualick to take over 7th place on the school career receiving yardage list. It was time to introduce the major chapter of this 1997 story, the Big Ten season. The Lions now owned the third best scoring offense and the third best total offense in college football as they invaded Illinois. Like three teams before them, the Illini concentrated on stopping Penn State's running game. They couldn't. And they certainly didn't have any better luck trying to slow down the Lions' passing attack. So balanced was the Penn State offense that they gained 276 yards on the ground and 272 through the air. It all started when Mike McQuarrie somehow found Shafi Fields through two Illinois defenders. The big play, quick strike fireworks were just beginning. McQuarrie says he likes throwing to Joe Juravicius because the senior receiver is big and easy to locate. At 6'5", Juravicius was the tallest skill position player on the field and a perfect target for McQuarrie's bombs.
He's showing into the corner for Juravicius. Touchdown! Perfect throw, perfect catch, perfect touchdown.
While Penn State's game plan sailed along at full speed, their defense took to destroying the Illini. Linebacker Brandon Short put a solid pop on an Illinois runner, while defensive end Justin Kirpikis punished Illini quarterback Tim Lavery. With crunching blocks thrown by the Lions' offensive line of Ryan Fagan, Eric Cole, Kevin Conlon, Bill Ostrowski, and John Blick, Curtis Enos rumbled over the 100-yard mark. Enos slammed into the end zone, and the outcome of this game was never in doubt. When Aaron Collins picked off a Lavery pass, it gave the Lion defense at least one steal in each of their first 4 games. And as they usually do, Penn State converted the turnover into points. Winning their 9th in a row over 2 years, a top winning streak in college football, Penn State dominated its first Big Ten opponent. They would take home a 41-6 victory and begin to think about welcoming unbeaten Ohio State to Beaver Stadium. The win was Penn State's 710th all-time, putting them 6th best in the history of college football. Emotions soared for this long-awaited clash of the unbeatens. 2 top 10 ranked teams, Penn State and Ohio State, in a typical Big Ten brawl. Since Penn State entered the Big Ten 5 years ago, the Buckeyes have handed the Lions their 2 most lopsided setbacks either in or out of the conference. October 11, 1997 was payback time. On their first possession, the Lions established the versatility of their offense. With Enos blasting inside and McQuarrie hitting on a key 3rd down pass to Aaron Harris, the Lions opened the battle with a 14-play drive that covered 81 yards. From the 5, Harris barreled over right guard, and just 4.5 minutes into the game, Penn State led 7-0. The day looked even darker for the visitors when Sean Lee recovered a fumble at the Buckeye 22. And Travis Forney turned the Ohio State mistake into a 23-yard field goal. 10-0, Penn State. Ohio State fought back to tie the game until late in the second period when Enos again became the Buckeye blaster. After the junior from Union City, Ohio, lugged the leather into Buckeye territory, Harris rammed it even closer. Against the top-rated pass defense in the country, McQuarrie found Joe Nastasi on a slant pattern, and Penn State seesawed back in front. The Lions held on to a 17-13 advantage at the half. The Buckeyes' game plan was clear. They would simply put everything up in the air. Sometimes it worked. Sometimes it didn't work, when Penn State's Brandon Short became the unintended receiver. But it seemed to work enough for Ohio State to build up a 27-17 lead with under 4 minutes to play in the third period. The Lions faced their first major challenge of the 1997 season. They responded with their two veteran offensive leaders setting the pace. First, Enos, who would climb into 8th place on the Lions' career rushing list, ignited the drive. Then Joe Juravicius grabbed a McQuarrie pass to set the Lions up at midfield. What followed was one of the greatest touchdown runs in Penn State football history. A play that totally changed the momentum of this crucial game.
He's still on his feet at the 40. He's at the 30. He's at the 20. He tucks inside. He's into the go-ahead zone for a touchdown. How about that run? A magnificent run by Aaron Harris.
Penn State trailed by 3. Stop Ohio State was the immediate goal. A goal made possible when Chris Snyder and Brandon Short sacked Germain. With the clock running down, McQuarrie began a march that could make or break this 1997 season.
Throw is complete to Brad Scioli at the 31-yard line for a first down.
He catches everything, that kid. They got a play there. I hope they realize it. Gutsy call.
Handoff to Enos. He gets the corner, the 30, the 35, the 40. Still on his feet at the 45 and out of bounds at the midfield mark. Play action fake. Looks on a down and out pattern. Complete to Juravicius inside the 30-yard line. Towards field. Intercepted, I think, at the 1-yard line. No, incomplete. Thank heavens. There's a handoff to Enos. He cuts back field. He's at the 20. He's at the 15. Curtis Enos on his feet. Touchdown!
Enos would finish with 211 yards rushing and became the 5th runner in Penn State history to gain more than 200 yards twice in his career. The Lions had regained the lead on a clutch drive, made possible by Shafi Field's alert strip that prevented an interception. From there on out, Penn State's defense preserved the 31-27 advantage. The Lions collected 3 sacks and limited Ohio State to just over 100 yards rushing. The Buckeyes were able to pile up big numbers through the air, but when it counted, defenders like Sean Lee simply said no to Ohio State's hopes of finding the end zone. With the win, Penn State moved to 5-0 on the season and improved their nation's longest winning streak to 10 straight. And for each player and coach, there was the feeling of pride that they had surmounted their first major challenge of 1997.
I said to myself, we'll find out what kind of a team we have right now.
This was one of the greatest games I've been a part of. It brings back similarities to me of the 94 season and the Illinois game, coming back like that, team showing heart, and just, proving that, we can win the big game.
This is sweet for everybody. Ohio people, PA people, Virginia, wherever we're from, we deserve it. We're a team that's for real.
And I thought the offensive line stuck in there and handled a lot of the blitzing and all that stuff, and I thought that Harris and Enos just ran about as hard as you can run with a football. Enos had a great day.
We just want to prove to people in college football that, that we're a good football team. That's what we decided to do when we were down by 10. And we looked at each other in that huddle, and we said, we worked too hard this summer. All the things we went through, got embarrassed last year by them. We wasn't going to let that happen in our place. And we made up our mind as a team, and we went out there and accomplished our goal, what we set forth to do today.
The most people to ever watch a football game in Beaver Stadium shared the emotion of this victory with the Lion players. 97,282 fans set a Lion attendance record, and savored every moment of this major triumph. Penn State's 5-0 start was built by a high-scoring offense and the smash-mouth defense that typically buried opponents. Penn State defense, continuing a tradition of success. Imagine you have played 48 minutes of football and neither you or your opponent has scored a touchdown. But you are trailing 15-3. 6 field goals have accounted for all the scoring. Your starting fullback and second leading runner is injured, gone for the game. Your offense has struggled. Your quarterback has been hit hard. And you are the #1 ranked team in college football. That was the situation that faced Penn State against Minnesota as the clock slipped down under 12 minutes to play. Mike McQuarrie led his Lions onto the field 75 yards away from a score that would bring his team to within 5 points of Minnesota. The situation appeared bleak. Enos, on the way to his 3rd consecutive 100-yard game, started the drive. McQuarrie kept it in gear with a 14-yard sideline pass to Bob Stevenson. First down Lions at midfield. Enos was gaining strength as the game progressed. The Gophers could not deny the big Lion tailback 18 yards up the middle. Following a pass interference penalty that awarded Penn State 1st and goal at the 6, it was Enos again into the end zone. And there was life on the Lions sidelines. Under 9 minutes to play, Minnesota 15, Penn State 10. The Lions needed some breaks and some clutch defense. On Minnesota's first snap following the kickoff, Dave Macklin returned possession to Penn State. After taking the ball to the Gophers' 6, the blue and white could go no further. Now, less than 5.5 minutes to play, Minnesota had the ball and Penn State was out of timeouts. On 3rd and 2, as Joe Paterno would say later, somebody was taking care of us.
On count by Sauter. It's a pitch. It's a fumble. Penn State recovers at the 10-yard line. Will you believe? Chris Snyder's the man. One wide receiver. Give to Enos. Enos is at the corner. He's at the 5, the 4, the 3. Touchdown! Curtis Enos!
In an incredible 8 minutes of football, the Lions scored their first 2 touchdowns of the game, held Minnesota without a point for that same period, and breathed one giant sigh of relief when the final seconds ticked away. Courtney Brown's sack put the finishing touches on any hopes the Gophers had of pulling an upset. The Lions had hung tough, rallied from a fourth-quarter deficit, and proudly walked off the field with a 16-15 win. Did they have doubts along the way?
It was not a question. I felt we were out of it. We just couldn't seem to get in a groove.
We just knew that we could do something. Our defense was playing really, really good. I mean, they didn't give up a touchdown the entire day. I mean, they bend, but they didn't break. And, you know, that just shows a lot of character about this ball club this year.
I think we got a lot of people with some big hearts on that defensive field, and guys aren't going to give up. That's what I think it taught us, you know. We got a lot of champions on that team.
This was Penn State's 75th win in the decade of the 90s. Their record of 75-17 is fourth best in all of college football. It's the cold, blustery month of November, and the Lions are just beginning one of the most challenging months in the history of their football program. For only the fifth time ever and the first time since 1924, Penn State has 5 battles in the 11th month, and all 5 teams have been ranked during the season. A trip to Northwestern opens the 30-day period which will severely test this undefeated 1997 Penn State football team. After blocking a Wildcat field goal attempt, the Lions began a drive at their own 20. With a 15-mile-per-hour wind swirling through the stadium, it was not an afternoon for long passes. The Lions gave the ball to Curtis Enos, and in 4 carries, he banged the Northwestern defense for 41 yards, advancing to the 2. From there, who else but Enos got the score? And after an 80-yard march, Penn State led 7-0. The Lions were mixing their plays to perfection. The passing game picked up as junior tight end Brad Scioli, junior wideout Joe Nastasi, and leading receiver Joe Juravicius all pulled in bullets from Mike McQuarrie. Making his first start at fullback, Anthony Cleary slammed in for 1 touchdown. And McQuarrie put his legs to work for another score. The Lions' defense punished the Wildcats, limiting them to just 7 points through 3 periods. The blue and white sacked Northwestern's passer 3 times and forced a fumble while building a 24-7 advantage entering the final quarter. In one of those typical Penn State time-killing drives, the Lions punched out 72 yards in 15 plays, draining 8 1/2 minutes off the clock. They averaged nearly 6 yards of play for the entire game and converted 9 of 14 third downs. This drive epitomized Penn State's play, as Northwestern simply could not put a halt to the Lions' attack. Cleary's second touchdown of the game gave Penn State 30 points. But the Wildcats became just that, Wildcats in the final period, scoring 3 touchdowns. It took a key onside kick recovery in the fading moments to preserve the win. Tikas Pettigrew smothered the onside effort, and the Northwestern comeback was finished. The victory improved Penn State to 7-0 for the 9th time under Joe Paterno. It was the Lions' 3rd straight win by 4 points or less. The win at Northwestern was the school's 400th since Joe Paterno joined the staff in 1950. 104 of those triumphs came when Paterno was an assistant coach under Rip Engel. It was billed as the Battle of the Unbeatens, a titanic clash of 2 of college football's all-time winningest programs. But the much-anticipated matchup was a one-sided affair. From the game's opening drive that saw Michigan take a 3-0 lead, the Wolverines gained control of the contest. The record crowd did its best to keep Penn State fired up, but Michigan broke a 3-game losing streak against Penn State with a convincing win. The Lions did manage a 4th-period touchdown by Curtis Enos, who again topped the 100-yard mark for the game, the first rusher to do so versus the Michigan defense. The setback ended Penn State's 12-game win streak. Joe Paterno summed it up very accurately. They didn't make any errors, any turnovers. Michigan just played a great game. Would the Lions be able to put this disappointment behind them and move forward toward a major bowl bid and a successful season? The answers would begin to emerge against Purdue. Determined to regain their winning form, the Lions visited Purdue, another ranked opponent. After an intense week of practice, everyone connected with the Penn State program was convinced they were ready to rebound against a Purdue team that was the Cinderella squad of the Big Ten Conference. After giving up a second-period touchdown, the Penn State defense turned aside the Boilermakers, refusing to give up a yard on 2 Purdue attempts. At the Lion 38, the Penn State defense would not budge. The Lion offense took over and quickly charted a course for the Purdue end zone.
Now he's got Cleary, and he's got it at the 50-yard line and a first down at the Purdue 49. There's a fake handoff, looking, throwing. It's complete to Shoppy Fields on a curl back to the sideline at the 25-yard line. And back to pass goes McQuarrie, throws a fade into the end zone, caught by Shoppy Fields for a touchdown as he battled a defensive man. Henry Bell would not be denied. Penn State's on the board.
On the next possession, the Lions showed they were back on the right track. Running one of the most balanced offenses in college football, Penn State was on the move. When Curtis Enos rammed in for the score, Penn State led 14-6, and the Lions were cooking. Same score, third period, but not for long.
He's got Scioli at the 50-yard line, still on his feet at the 45, the 40, the 30, the 25, the 20, and out of bounds.
The multi-dimensional Enos became only the 5th runner in school history to record 2 1,000-yard seasons. A great blocker, he proved to be an equally dangerous pass catcher. The Lions held a commanding advantage, and the defense knew Purdue had to go airborne. Senior hero back Jason Collins, back after missing most of 2 seasons with injuries, celebrated his first interception as a Lion. Once again, the defense set the table for the offense. When Enos's 30-yard run produced his 4th touchdown of the game, it also added another statistic to the Lions' big play reputation. Through 9 games of the season, Penn State had run a remarkable 47 plays that covered more than 20 yards, 18 of them for touchdowns. One final defensive highlight would cap off a high-scoring afternoon. The Lions had shown the tenacity to regroup and rise to an even higher level following the Michigan loss. McQuarrie threw for more than 250 yards. The defense caused 3 turnovers, and Penn State continued to own November, winning 16 of its last 18 in the 11th month. Purdue fell to Penn State 42-17.
I haven't had the ball in my hand since high school, so it felt good to just get an interception and be able to make a big play for the defense.
And this is when it all counts right now at the end of the season. You know, if I'm able to carry that ball that many times and be strong, then it's all because of how Coach, groomed me to where I'm at from the beginning of the season to the end of the season.
I think it's balanced. I think we executed well today. We have not executed that well through the year, but we improved today.
Not only did Curtis Enos rack up a career-high 269 all-purpose yards, but he became only the 4th back in Penn State history to rush for more than 3,000 career yards, joining D.J. Dozier, Blair Thomas, and Kurt Warner. One final home appearance for this 1997 Penn State football squad. 24th-ranked Wisconsin visited Beaver Stadium, and the Lions were determined to secure their 9th win of the season. To defeat the Badgers, the blue and white would have to win the battle of the trenches against one of the largest offensive lines they would face all year. Lion defenders would have to overcome their bigger opponents and wrap up massive Badger tailback Ron Dane. With Brandon Short leading the way, Penn State prevented Dame from becoming a factor and kept him at arm's length of the end zone. On offense, Mike McQuarrie came out as sharp as any Penn State quarterback in recent memory. The fifth-year senior completed 12 consecutive throws and finished the first half with 219 yards passing, a Penn State record for the first two periods. And McQuarrie found an old friend in the end zone for the game's first score.
Looking into the end zone is caught. Touchdown, Joe Juravicius! Beautiful slant post pattern by Joe, and Mike laid it in there.
Juravicius would catch 4 balls for over 100 yards in one of his most productive games of the season. The first half turned into the Mike and Joe show, supplemented nicely by a Curtis Enos 13-yard touchdown run. Then, with time expired in the first half, a prayer was answered.
Here come the Badgers, and there goes McQuarrie. Back. Throwing down into the end zone. There are a lot of guys down there, and it is caught. Touchdown, Penn State! Juravicius caught the pass. Unbelievable.
The Juravicius catch sent Penn State to the locker room up 21-3. Wisconsin never recovered. Enos ran for a total of 138 yards, his 7th consecutive 100-yard-plus game, tying Blair Thomas. While Enos was etching his name in the record book, he added an entry with the longest run of his spectacular career.
30, the 35, the 40. He's got one man to beat at the 50. He's at the 40. He's at the 35, the 30. Stays in bound at the 20, the 15, the 10. Touchdown! Curtis Enos!
The defense added to the accomplishments on Senior Day 1997 with 1 interception and a season-high 6 sacks, while limiting the Badgers to a field goal and 1 final period touchdown. McQuarrie brought the Lions downfield for a final score. His 28-yard completion to Joe Nastasi made the final score Penn State 35, Wisconsin 10. With both Ohio State and Florida State losing, the Lions climbed up to number 4 in the national polls.
It's obviously a great way to go out on your last day in the stadium, and it just seemed that we got off to kind of a bad start there, but after that, it just seemed that everything fell into place for us. The line was doing a great job. The receivers made a bunch of great catches, and that makes your job easier as a quarterback.
This is a great bunch of guys I played with, and just catching those balls and scoring those 2 touchdowns, that just added to the atmosphere tonight.
We just got out there and said, let's make a stand and show them what we're really made of.
Yeah, you always want to go out on a good note, and I hope to do that, and I just wanted to play as hard as I can, leave everything I had on the field.
By scoring 2 touchdowns, Enos moved ahead of Kijana Carter and into 2nd place in career touchdowns with 35. As the 1997 regular season came to a close, Penn State ran into a Michigan State buzzsaw. It was anybody's game until midway through the second half. The Lions scored on a 54-yard dash by Curtis Enos that showed off the speed and power of the sleek tailback. A Mike McQuarrie to Joe Juravicius 14-yard touchdown tied the game at 14 with just over 11 minutes to play in the 3rd period. The fired-up Spartans took control of the game in the 3rd period and clinched a postseason trip with a convincing win. The Lions finished their regular season 9-2. As Penn State fans reflect back on the 1997 campaign, they will treasure visions of one of the Lions' all-time best runners. When Curtis Enos put on his beloved blue and white uniform, it seemed he could do everything: blocking, receiving, and running. Who could ask for anything more?
For us to accomplish what we need to accomplish is to score points. That's what I do. Whatever is part of the game plan and how we go about doing it, then I'm all for that. I never second judge that, look at stats or anything, because that doesn't mean anything. I'm just happy to be out there and playing the sport that I love to play.
He finished his junior season with 1,363 yards gained rushing. His 19 touchdowns are 3rd best in school history. His 8 consecutive 100-yard games are a school record, and he is the 12th Penn State running back to earn first-team All-America honors. With Enos banging through defenses and McQuarrie and Juravicius combining on big plays, the Lions finished among the top dozen teams in college football. From start to finish, their message was clear. You can't ignore the roar.